ahead of his UFC Saudi Arabia main event against Nassourdine Imavov, Feb 1st. Israel, we know they like to do it big over there in Saudi, right? Like they treat their stars amazing. You've been there with Francis. When they offered you this fight there, was that something that excited you?
Definitely, because I've been to Saudi Arabia when they started to open the gates to the world. I've been there probably 5 or 6 times, but I haven't fought there. And yeah, I was excited to get the call that I'm fighting over in Saudi Arabia.
And when they mentioned the opponent, right? Like I think a lot of the guys at middleweight wanted this. They called you out multiple names. Why ultimately do you think the UFC thought Nassourdine Imavov was the best opponent for you in the spot?
I'm not sure why, but he's a game opponent. He's climbing the ranks, I think, in the top five right now. So, oh, hairbrush. Oof. So yeah, it was. I mean, he was the first name that got slid across the desk, and I was just like, "Yep, let's go."
And I know you've always said F the belt, and this is your first non-title fight since February 2019. I know you already said in one of your videos that it doesn't feel any different. But for you, like, what is the difference in motivation and how you push for a fight like this, where a belt is not on the line and it's just kind of a different circumstance than what you've been used to for half a decade now?
For me, it's just proving to myself that I'm still that dude. I know I'm one of the best, if not the best. Um, but I still feel like I'm improving, and I see the work that I do. I feel the work that I do, and I just want to show the world the work that I'm doing.
Yeah, and you say you're still one of the best. You come into the situation though, you've never lost three straight combat sports fights, as far as I can tell off your record in your entire combat career. Is that something you've thought about and used as a driving force at all going into this fight?
No, not at all. I'm not focused on those kind of numbers. For me, it's just another fight, a new opponent, new body to exchange with, and he's really good. So, yeah, I look forward to taking care of him.
Yeah, I actually spoke with him a few hours ago, and dude could not have been any more respectful of you or, gracious of your skill set and you taking this fight. But this feels like a completely different buildup than we've had in the past 2 years, right? Like Alex twice in a row, Strickland, Duplessis, those all had, a storyline and attention to them. This seems like it's just a straightforward fight between two sportsmen. Do you like that build and kind of the change of pace here?
Yeah, it's always good to mix things up, but again, this is just fighting. It'd be pretty boring in the lead up to this fight for the fans who like that kind of stuff. But the fight's going to be very exciting. That's a sauce in this one.
And I mean, this is kicking off a massive month for middleweight, right? Like there's you versus Imavov, MVP versus Shara Bullet on this card. The week after, Drickus and Sean Strickland fight for the title. The week after that, there's Cannonier and Gregory Rodriguez headlining. The week after that, Anthony Hernandez versus Brendan Allen. Pretty much the only people not booked in the top 10 are Chimaev and Caio Baralho. So do you feel like, the middleweight division is a good state here and this is a great month for you to kick off really highlighting this division?
Yeah, that's I didn't know that all those other fights were in the month of February, but yeah, exciting times for 185. But to be honest, 185 feels boring without me. So yeah, I want to go in there and just make it interesting.
Izzy, I got to ask about this training with Rob Whittaker, right? This video went viral. That looked like this was one of the most wholesome things that inspired me to, in 2025, I'm going to keep a track of all the wholesome MMA moments we get. And that was obviously a big one to kick off the year. Just tell me a little bit how you and Rob linked up and, why you thought now was the time to kind of fill that bond with him a little bit more.
It was just organic. His coach hit up my coach, and Eugene, asked me, and I was like, of course, he can pull up anytime. And I didn't know he was pulling up on that Monday, so when I saw him, I was excited. I was hyped. But yeah, it's always good to have someone like Rob, a caliber of him, around the gym. Definitely, you can feel his energy in the room, even though it's just a chill guy. And it was nice to exchange with him and sit down with him, break bread with him, have him come on the breakdown, and just yeah, it was cool. I respect Rob tremendously, and I like him a whole lot more.
He was on Ariel Helwani's show today, and he said in 2019, if I could have hit Israel with my car, I would have. But like, he's like maybe just a light little tap, but like that's how I felt about him now. And like now, I would never fight him again. It's all behind us. When you hear that, I guess was the tension for you that high back then too?
Um, I mean, he just being funny, but yeah, the tension was high. But again, we always knew we'd get along. We're just two chill guys. Um, but yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, he said the biggest surprise of training with you was how good your jiu-jitsu is. And I know you've always kind of teased this behind the scenes, but he's like, I'm curious how that could come into play for this fight. Is he giving away a little bit of the game plan here, is he? Or I know you always kind of say I'd love to get my first submission.
Yeah, that's definitely on the cards. Getting my first submission, and I have had my moments with grappling in the game. Uh, but just fucking take me down and find out. You know, yeah, it's been hard to so far. It took me this long to lose by submission, but yeah, I keep improving. So yeah,
Yeah.
bring it.
And I know you also said on the YouTube channel, a fight with Khamzat Chimaev after seeing what he did with Rob is pretty appealing to you now. When you envision that, like, how do you think it comes together? Is he gonna win the belts against either Strickland and Duplessis? You win a couple fights and it's a title fight. Do you think he loses for the title and it comes together that way? How do you ultimately envision that fight coming together in the future?
I haven't envisioned it. I've just been focused on this MMO for the last 20 weeks or so. That's the only fight I've had in my mind. But yeah, seeing how what's his name, Khamzat did definitely made me like go, okay, he's legit. But again, I've seen him fight over how many years, and he's game. The fight with Gilbert was the one that made me respect his dog in him. So I was like, oh yeah, this guy's he's about that life. So yeah, whenever it happens. But right now I'm focused on Imavov.
Absolutely, as you should be. What do you think happens? I know you're going to do breakdowns for the YouTube channel and stuff, but when at 312, Strickland and Duplessis fight again for the title, can you give us a little preview of how you think that one goes?
Uh, ugh. I say I say that Drickus wins that one. If it's close, maybe, or maybe it's more decisive this time. It's going to be a hard fight for both men, but I think I'll give the edge to Drickus in this fight.
Sean Strickland said, I think like today or yesterday, he basically said, like, I challenged him to only stand and strike in this fight, no takedowns. When you hear a guy say that, especially Sean, is that maybe showing like a little mental weakness or something going into this fight where, he's trying to lure Drickus into something?
I don't know, man. You got to act Sean.
Yeah, fair. Are you gonna fly straight to Sydney after this? Do you want to be there for that fight?
I got teammates fighting, so most likely we'll be there, but I don't know yet.
Okay. And just last thing here is before I let you go, you told me in Perth after the fight with Drickless, you're like, I'm happy with the way I performed. I'm just not happy with the results. And you said that wasn't the case with Sean. So going into this fight with Imavov, what needs to happen where you're happy with the performance and the result in your mind?
I have to win. I'm gonna win. So yeah, I've done everything in my power to ensure that, and I cannot wait till next weekend.
Awesome, man. Well, when are you heading out there?
Sunday, this
Yeah.
Sunday.
All right, man. Well, I hope it's a safe flight out there. We're so happy to have you back. I think this is great for the fans to get you to watch you on this platform as well, man. So appreciate you as always, Izzy. It's great to see your face on one of these as well. So I appreciate the time, man.
No worries. Thanks, Mike.
Take care, man.